There we go.
Oh, the UI on this, it's got it. I got it. That's a great, sorry, the message, the prompt, it's very concise. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I like the easiness of Zoom.
sure. Yeah. I'm often on Microsoft Teams myself. So uh it's
Ooh.
all the same to me, right?
Let's get technical about that in a moment. But welcome. Thank you very much, Meg Ryan, for
Yes,
being
hello.
on my 117th episode of What's with Friends.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure.
So I'm so thanks. I'm glad. I hope I wasn't bugging you too much, but I thought it'd be such a great conversation.
I let's do it. Let's get into it.
Okay, well we're started. You're a writer,
Yes.
voice actress or actor. No, did you
No.
see in some voiceover view or you're writing stuff?
No, I work in audio description, so
Okay,
I write the scripts for that. Yeah.
okay, so that's what. Okay, I knew there was some sort of leak. Um, how long have you been in the industry? When did you were you a California native? Did you when did you where'd you grow up? We're go through a little past to present to future.
My whole deal.
In a
So I
nutshell, not complicated. It's the fun parts, the easy parts, the fun, the inspirational parts. Or
I grew up in the western suburbs of Chicago, and I did that for a long time. My pet robot is going to be sounding off this whole time. So yeah, I did the Chicago thing. I moved out here at the end of college, so 2009, but I got pregnant right away and had to relocate back to
why'd you make
Chicago
that face when you said you got pregnant right away? So
because it was a big fucking moment. What can you show me the face I made and I'll tell you exactly. Yeah, I got fucking pregnant. I was 22. It was a big deal.
it's a surprise.
Yeah, it was not, it wasn't intentional. And so I'd originally come out here to write TV. That was my aspiration, but that was kind of unattainable. Having a kid on the way, went back to Chicago to be by family, had another kid, and at a certain point, I was like, "Well, that's it for my dreams. I'll just be here breastfeeding forever." And then I went, wait, that's dumb. I've actually got more to say now than ever. So I kind of dove into the Chicago comedy scene. And after a few years, it was clear I kind of had gone as far as I could in Chicago, and I needed to go back to Los Angeles. So that's kind of what brought me back here.
Okay, so when you went back and did some comedy writing in Chicago, I keep wanting to say Chicago, but or Chicago or whatever the but like did you go to the Groundlings or not Groundlings? Who they Second City or were you doing stuff over there? And what aspect of that? And how long did you do that for before you came back?
Sure. So I was at Second City in like the sketch comedy writing program. I took their regular courses and did like their shows. So they have like uh more intense conservatory, but I just was only really, I'm not a performer. I get nervous. So I focused on writing. I went over to IO in Chicago, which is kind of like a stepsister of Second City. And took more classes in television writing there. Just
What
kind of
year
get
was this? What year was this?
2013 through like 2015, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it, I guess kind of like it was just a lot of trial and error of like figuring out what my voice was. And it was also it was strange because I was with a lot of my peers, but none of them had children. None of them were young parents. So it was also kind of like finding that compromise of like who I am as the person, Meg, and then like what I have to say, and all my opinions then were kind of exclusively informed on like breastfeeding and what
Yeah.
it's like to have toddlers and vaccines and stuff like that. But it was a great place to kind of spread your wings and figure out like who you wanted to be in the community as a whole.
Were those like writers' rooms, or were you guys in like a theater aspect or scenario? Were you guys at a club or where they had rows and you guys were bantering back and forth and collecting notes, or what was that writers' room or that learning of that like, and what it looked like?
So
You
in
were doing that
general, it
program.
was like it was mostly so like the classes leading up to when you start putting on performances, we're all just kind of like in a dingy basement. with like folding chairs. It wasn't particularly you know, fancy.
No.
And then when you got, then it was like, oh, you're going to put up a review. Okay, so now you're in a cabaret, you're in a black box theater. In Chicago is a great place to do comedy, like because people want to see comedy there that aren't in Chicago comedy. People come in it from out of town. What do they have at Second City? Sure, I'll see the cheap show. You can entertain somebody, you know, from Petoskey, Michigan. You can make them laugh. It's kind of like a nice feeling,
Well,
right?
that's the gold standard, right? But
Yeah, no, you got to get the
that's if you,
people from
if
the
they don't laugh at
UP.
your jokes, man, ooh, you gotta be really screaming at nightmares in the middle of the night.
But then let's see, I went through a more advanced like professional program after the general sketch program that was focused on writing pilots and specs and stuff like that, and that was like led by a former television writer, and those were more held like a writer's room where you kind of got like real-time feedback on your scripts, like you were dissecting things in a bigger way, uh both in the sense of like why did that joke work, but then also just the structure of like, you know,
Wow,
that type of stuff. 3 acts and act breaks and all of those things. Yeah.
super technical.
Mm-hmm.
Does it drag the comedy out of when you're dissecting and like doing the like the cliff notes of what you know the structure of what makes jokes funny? Does it still do things still make you laugh today? What makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh? The dirtiest
Nothing.
things imaginable. Yeah, no, it's always something where I'm like, oh, I actually laughed at that. Uh, I just watched this show recently, which was the hardest I had laughed at any TV show in a long time, called Killing It. I don't mean to plug anything, but
Plug,
it
plug,
was
plug. I don't care. No one's watching this.
I
This is just more. This is just for me and you, anyways. This isn't
okay.
nobody. There's nobody out there.
So I guess it's just like things that are in line with my sense of humor are going to play a lot on foibles. They're going to be pretty crass, and they're going to be pretty unapologetic in their point of view. And it's going to have a statement about something very fucking relatable. Killing It is a great example of that because it's like just a commentary on like the gig economy, but in southern, like by the Everglades in Florida, where they like pay you to kill Burmese pythons,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know it's the equivalent of an Uber driver, but they're, you know, nailing snakes through the skull, you know. It's bizarre. It's a great show. But
Fiction. It's a fictional thing.
the what I described, so it is a fictional show. It's a sitcom, right?
Yeah,
But what I've just described to you is real. In Florida, they do pay you to
yeah.
in a gig setup to kill Burmese pythons in the Everglades. Yes, because they're invasive and there's like 100,000 of them. I guess it's wild. So I laugh at that. I laugh at invasive species. Uh,
Oh, you're gonna love this video that I saw of a lion eating a gazelle and a hippopotamus eating it afterwards. You would love it. No, just it's
you
shot in
know,
the Ganges or something like that. You'd love it. It's completely hysterical.
I watch a lot of African, this is weird. I watch a lot of live streams of African wildlife. So like I generally, like while I'm working, will have like a live feed of like the Great Plains. And I really like it when a big elephant like gets in a standoff with a mighty lion. It's fantastic. It's a real treat.
I've been watching. I saw one where the elephant had a standoff with the rhino.
Hell yeah. That sounds like it's full of testosterone. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the rhino. I think the elephant's just such an amazing. It's such a totem animal. It's such a, as in the way of like symbolism of things, and the elephant represents so much to. I really resonate with it on a high level. I almost get teared up a little bit because it's such a powerful, majestic creature that's very thoughtful and very
Yeah.
powerful. But you know, I guess people are doing good things and then with them, and people are doing bad things with them. And this is where we have to live in harmony with nature. But it's like yeah, that rhino, yeah, rhino took off eventually. But the elephant, I've seen the ones where they stop the alligator.
Oh yeah. I haven't so like
There's a whole. I'm not into like African gore porn. You know, I'm not into animal porn, like animal gore porn. I don't like that. Sometimes it comes up on my feed, and I get rid of it right away
You
because it's
gotta,
hold
yeah.
on, hold on, hold on. What are we doing here?
The
But
algorithm will take you down some rabbit holes. You don't want to start that. Like,
no,
no.
no, no. My feed, I had to like change everything from like little from those like there's a few videos I saw that were pretty hardcore, but but then change it to bunnies and giraffes and like emus. I got a big emu thing and koalas and
There you go.
beavers, and we kind of flipped the algorithm, I think, on that. Hopefully,
I like to kind of make fun of giraffes because they deserve it, but also because they look like such assholes when they try to drink water. They like do full-fledged like Bambi baby deer, like with their
oh,
it's ridiculous.
you don't
Uh
think that's cute?
I mean, I think it's funny. I'm sure it's cute. I'm not actually like, look at
You'd
this
like
shit.
it if a lion came up right when from the water or something, like an alligator came up on it.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want him to get eaten. I just think it'd be funny to see him have to like figure it out really quick and then, gallop away, I guess,
You know the story with the giraffe, right? I love the giraffe. It's like one of my totem animals. The giraffe. You know the story of how they got their long neck, right?
Tell me all about it.
As a writer, you don't know this
I
as a
don't
human being.
know.
Okay, so in a nutshell, the giraffe used to not have that neck like that. So what
Uh-huh.
over evolution, it grew past its competitors, so that they had a source that their competitors couldn't get at. So they evolved past their competitors, which I always love that notion that no one was getting the food that they were able to get anymore. They didn't have there was no contest.
And then they just kept evolving.
Yeah.
They didn't, yeah, no, I mean,
You
that
know,
checks out.
whales
That makes sense.
whales once walked on the land. You know that,
I
right?
know, I've seen that. Yes, I know
That's
about that.
crazy shit, right?
Yeah, it's wacky.
That's wild. Anyways, back to writing. Okay, so where were we last? You're Chicago, and
Chicago.
the kids, and you're writing, and you're doing all these situations or Second City and beyond.
Yes.
What made you pull the trigger to come back to LA?
You know, um, but I had two teachers that were, one was like a retired SNL writer, and another was just like he had written some popular 80s, like, those fucking 80s comedies that are questionable now. They don't age well. He'd written a
Which
couple.
ones?
He wrote Revenge of the Nerds, like that series, that franchise.
You mean you wrote
Uh
the Revenge of the Nerds movie?
yeah.
My
Uh
buddy Robert Carradine's in that movie.
that's super cool. Yeah, Steve Zacharias. I guess I'll just be dropping names.
Yo,
He
that's a very proud trilogy. There's nothing to be ashamed about. The Bobby, we're talking about you. I love Robert. He's been on the podcast. He's a great guy. Anyways, that doesn't it still hold up, that series?
I
No?
think there's just one
Is
or a
it like
few
Me Too sort
questionable,
of stuff, right?
yeah, where it's like, oh, did that character just I don't know. We don't need to get into it. I think there's some
Well,
questionable things.
Animal House also has the very famous scene as well.
Yeah. So but that said, like both Steve and then Michael McCarthy was the other teacher. They both were like, hey, you've gotta not do like,
That.
black box shows anymore. You should go like to one of the coasts. And I didn't want snow anymore. Chicago was in those like polar vortexes. It was one of those years of like blizzards and polar vortexes, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go to LA. Like I'm going back. And it's always had been where I wanted to be. Like it was an aspirational thing growing up. I wanted to be here. And then once I relocated here, I kind of gotten involved in IO West, which is no longer around, but it was a sketch comedy theater. And
I remember that.
and
Was that in the Valley? Was that in North Hollywood?
no, it was on Hollywood Boulevard by Vine, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
And but I wonder what's the one you're thinking of.
no, I thought I saw. I lived in so many fucking places in fucking LA that sometimes the areas blur. But I do remember like an iOS, but I thought that was like because it might have been in that area, but it was like next to like a little cafe. That
uh
we're obtuse. We could do this for like half an hour. And like, where was that thing? And was it Crenshaw or was it La Cienega or was it like fucking who knows? Like, no, it was like I thought it was North Hollywood. I only lived in North Hollywood for a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I thought it was in that area, or there's a troop over there in that area with a similar, like, three, one, iOS, or would you, or however you said it.
IO West. So I think like you
Ios.
might be thinking of that. I think it's just like called Haha Comedy Club or something, which did a lot of stand up. Does that sound right? Because that's on Lancashire over there in NoHo. But
Quite possibly, it blurs. It blurs. Time, it blurs because I kind of got in and out of that area for. Oh, I'm not a valley guy.
no, fuck it. No, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Are you?
Um,
Are you? I not without giving too much away about where you live. Are you near the ocean? Can you be near the ocean and be
yeah,
cool with
I've been surfing a lot. I can
Nice.
I'm a 15-minute walk from the ocean, and I
Perfect.
often do. So
Oh, well,
yeah,
we'll get into your surfing lifestyle after this. This would be great. So, so you come back. Where did you move to first when you got back?
same place I am now. So, Venice area by the beach. And it was mostly kind of a choice of like, do I move to mid city? Like, there's three good public elementary schools in all of
Oh, you have
LAUSD.
kids though. That's the whole
Yeah.
deciding factor. That's a whole right.
Yeah. So it was like, do I go to the one at, Wilshire and La Brea? Do I go to the one that's, in Toluca Lake, or do I go to the one the one good public school that's on the west side? And I decided I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to live by the beach. So it was that was kind of the motivation behind where I am now.
And how's the temperature over there in LA? I've been gone from there for a couple months. Well, I left.
Where are you now? I thought you were in Santa Monica.
No, I'm back in Oregon. After the
Hell yeah.
pizza show, I took off.
Hell, all right. That's awesome.
It was
Uh,
calling. I was living near the Hollywood Bowl, and it was just like it was beating me down kind of hard. It was a beautiful spot, but like
yeah.
the bowl hours and stuff like that, people coming in, closing off streets, the rent. I kind of like I could I had to get out of there after 6 months. If I'm in LA for more than 6 months, I kind of turned into a pumpkin.
I know I get it. I need to get out of here every once in a while too, or it's everybody. Everybody needs to get out of LA for a minute, or else it just gets to you. I generally go to Sedona. So that's
Arizona. Yeah.
yeah. That's where
You're like all hot because of Chicago. You're like, I'm going to every place that's not even nearly gonna be cold.
yeah, you figured me out. I'm never dealing with torrential sleet again. I'm just gonna I'll figure out a way to be really sweaty. Uh um, but I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I recently got caught up in the same bull traffic twice in one night. My daughter was going to Halloween Horror Nights, and I kept getting stuck on that pass at Cahuenga, and I was like, what am I doing? How do I not learn? Why is it like this? It felt like Groundhog Day kind of.
It's
Uh
a shit show. If you
yeah.
don't time it correctly, it's fucked. And that
Yeah.
means like if you don't want to pay more than I mean it's right. I was right on Highland and Hollywood, or
Oh,
not
sure.
Highland and Milner.
Okay, I don't
That's
know that one.
the traffic light at Hollywood Bowl
Yes.
right there.
Oh no. Yeah, no wonder. Like, you're not gonna be okay. Like,
It was rough. It was rough.
yeah.
But there's a lot. But anyways, it's good to be back in nature, and it's good to check in with LA. I don't know. I know there's a lot of things. It's a love hate relationship. So
Yeah.
so when you began coming back here, what did you start writing for?
So it was a lot of live topical sketch comedy. It was a lot of that. I was still kind of stuck in the, short form phase without really, you know, a good handle on I knew how to like I knew the math of structuring a good pilot, but I didn't have my voice down yet. And I think like I was just kind of doing a lot of live topical sketch, which was great because it taught me how to write jokes and like write stuff quickly, inspired by current events, and then how to like cram as many jokes into a page as possible. I ended up in a diversity program for CBS, writing sketch comedy for their like diverse actors, for as like a showcase for casting agents and stuff like that. And so I got to work, you
Would
know,
that be
in the
considered
base
urban? You know,
CBS,
the
or how do you?
urban of the people that the characters that you're writing for, were they urban characters?
It was a whole gambit. It was a whole diverse rainbow
Like,
of people that were all these different ethnicities, but also, I feel like in the past that program had featured different, people who were, different levels of or different types of, disabilities and stuff
different
like
levels
that.
of ethnicity.
Ah, what am I saying? uh, but so it was interesting because I was also maybe the first time in my life as an adult that I've been surrounded by so many peers who were, after the same goals as I was. And it was refreshing because like I had found parenting to be that young in downtown Chicago to be very isolating. I didn't really have a lot of friends. And uh people, it's still a fucking obstacle. People don't really my age super understand the things I go through because they don't, have kids or been divorced.
Yeah,
And
it's like people don't want to see it.
yeah, and
You
so
don't
they're
want to
kind of
tell them. You
like,
don't want to be bothered with
yeah,
the hellish, the hell I go through on a daily basis. You don't want to.
yeah,
No one likes a
you don't need
whiner.
it.
You don't need to know what 1 minute in my mind would destroy you.
Or just like what it's like any given night, like the chaos, what it's like to start your day in chaos, what it's like to end your day in chaos, what it's like to just like be at the service of others constantly. It's not. It was.
And you're
I
single. I
guess
don't mean to get too bright. Are you a single mother? Or you have
yes,
a
I'm a
husband?
single mom.
Okay.
But so I guess like because of that experience, being in a room with 100 other peers that were all the same interests, it was nice to, be able to kind of lend my voices, like something that I don't think, I don't know a lot of other young single moms in comedy. And that was good. And then just to meet a lot of people, and we all have copacetic goals. And, that was a very like transformative experience. It greatly expanded, my peer group, my networking, and it gave me a little bit of, oddly enough, at the time, it seemed like the program maybe was a little bit of a shit show, but after leaving it, it's stayed. It's like people see it on a resume and like, oh, you did showcase. Okay. So what was it like working for a network?
Yeah.
So that kind of, I guess, gave me the little bit of credibility.
And where did that credibility take you?
Uh, I had a bunch of unrealized development deals that, I guess kind of why the writers are striking right now is various, studios figured out how to, dangle the carrot of like, well, we're going to put you in development, but we're not going to, give you any money. But if it goes, you'll get more money
You're
later.
going to be so happy if this ever goes and sits in a
Yeah.
drawer
You just
forever.
do. Yeah. What used to get you, $15,000 or more might like now is 6 months of free work for them to go. We're changing our slate. And so that happened half a dozen
Was
times.
that mostly for the? When did you feel that start to happen?
I mean, you're green when it starts, and it's the most exciting thing in the world. So 2018, studio would, you know, come to me and all of a sudden they would say like, we love this script. This is really raw, personal. It was kind of like my story of like, what it took to become a single mom and like make those choices that were like me recognizing like my modicum of self-worth and wanting more, right? That is an extremely personal script, and it was well done between my writing partner and I. And so
Can I ask just real quick what format that was in? Was that a screenplay, like a feature, or
it
was it
was a
episodic?
pilot, so it was a pretty fully realized series, like just but it was I don't know. So when there was the first like bit of interest in that, and like you're getting your first like, oh, we have like an executive producer attached and it's all fleshing out, you don't even really realize that you're doing a lot of work for free. It's kind of like, oh, this is great, this is a great opportunity, only to then 6 months later be like, okay, so I've spent, I'm gonna say a good 20 hours a week on this project for a long time on and off just to get notes and incorporate it more so that you could make it. And we're just gonna, we're changing gears. Like, I had that particular project come up in different iterations a few times. I think it's a kind of evergreen story. I'm sure it'll come back again. But then there'd also been things that were like adult animation, pilots, or lately I've been pulled into like the young adult, like genre. And that has been, it's honestly, it's a thing I can write very authentically, because I currently have a 13-year-old who just thinks I'm the most mortifying person in the world. So I can really
You want to talk about her for a second? So if she watches this, she'll get really upset.
Yeah, you want me to say her name? No, I'm just kidding. No,
Hey, bleep, 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 bleep.
yeah.
God,
No,
she like socking the pillow in her bed.
yeah, no, she's so embarrassing. Why?
Why? Why you can always do this to me?
Yeah. And sometimes if I say the phrase pop off, like I'm about to pop off, even if it's a joke and they know I'm joking, they can't handle it. It's like they just cave inward on themselves. It's humiliation.
It's
It's
a
like,
trigger word. It's a trigger.
yeah, mom's gonna
Mom,
pop
my
off.
mom, I live with my mom right now in Oregon.
Yeah.
She'll say some shit, it'll trigger me. I'll be like, still, I don't know what it is. It's in you're their mother. This is the connect. It's just certain things that might happen. You know it too. There's a part of you that kind of likes it. Like makes it like, whoo, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's weird. I think like in my mid-30s being like the person who drives my kids crazy. It's like, no, but I'm the cool young mom. You gotta think I'm nobody's as cool. No, okay. Like I still mortify you. Great.
That's the position that you're holding. You're holding them. They gotta.
I just have to step into it. Like I have to fully embrace it, I think.
How old are they now?
My son is 11, my daughter's 13.
Oh shit. Shit's
Yeah.
got wild over there.
Tell me about it.
Whole that's a whole like I can see. I've never had kids. I've had dogs.
It's the same principle. It's more or less the same thing.
They're the same amount of work, right? And what you get and what you get out of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's definitely not the case. But yeah, it's like if I was to have kids, I mean, I would be great with kids, but it didn't happen. That's all right. It's all good. I put the art into the paintings, and those are my kids. And
There you go.
I'll get dogs in later life. If I meet somebody that has kids, that's probably the most scenario that would happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but like, so the stuff that you're writing now is more for like the Euphoria sort of generation. Is that and there's a lot of talent out there. They do so. Wait, we because this is going to go into being eclipsed because this whole situation's not. Is this even happening anymore? What
Yeah, that's kind
let's
of, it's
bring it
all
to
like,
now. Let's bring it to right now. With that
okay.
being said, about your that, and if there's anything between you want to go through to get to this point, go for it. But like, where is it at?
You mean like with the massive labor disputes that are ongoing?
Is that
Uh
happening? I mean, this thing that seems to be crumbling Hollywood down to its very
yeah,
core.
I heard something about
The
it.
elites are sitting on top with margaritas, going, "Let them drown,
Yeah,
drown."
just swirling brandy sifterns. I no, I so
Helicopter.
obviously I, like most things, it's like, okay, that that opportunity to make any USD is gone for the time being, but you just have to kind of,
Can I
not
ask
get
you a question?
impatient.
If you throw out a term like USD, I have to know what that means. And so
US dollars.
US dollars. Okay. I don't. Oh, that's why I don't know what that looks like. I've never heard those words
No, you're an
before.
artist. Why would you? For fuck's sake. No. Uh,
You had a. That's my trigger word right there. I was like, what is this alien
money?
language he speaks?
Yeah. No. Yeah, so like the opportunity to make any money is gone. But again, like it's with the hope that when it comes back, it's with better conditions for all of us. So it's that thing of like, you have your projects, you hope they're what's going to be timely when everything comes back to fruition. But yeah, it's it's a holding pattern. It always is. Um,
Okay, so what's the vibe like on the picket line? You've been out there with them?
I've been out there a few times. I do have a day job, so I can't always just like take off the afternoon.
What's like? Can you give us a little like synopsis of what's happening out there? What's the current state of affairs with the
Sure.
science?
Like in today in particular, there was a false story leaked to the press last night that like there was going to be a deal resolved today between the WGA and
All that.
AMPTP, and that was not the case.
I didn't believe it when I saw it. I didn't believe it when I saw it.
Why would you believe anything anymore that like is on any major news source, because it's all owned by those fucking people. But so like I think there's a I think in general it's pretty like a it's a resigned bleakness. We're all just like, we know this is kind of the it, like this is the last stand. If we don't like really dig our heels in now, it probably means that the whole industry is obsolete in another cycle, another contract cycle. So you kind of have to go for broke at this point.
Yeah, I
So
heard about like the if things don't get cleared by October, the 2024 season is a wash.
if that's the case, I'm Jesus. Like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I hope it gets cleared up. I can't imagine. I feel like it's just going to be, and this is pure speculation, that one of the members of AMPTP that don't have a streamer are just going to basically say like, I'll agree to your terms, WGA. I'll agree to your terms, SAG. I'll do the temporary deal, and it'll just kind of crumble within. I do think that like the power of unions will stand the testament of time. I
Okay,
don't think they're
okay.
going to crumble them, but yeah.
So with that aspect of it, is there any way that these writers, all these people that know their craft, been doing it for years, could assemble and create their own empires?
Boy, I wish I had a blueprint of what that would look like, because
Oh,
that would
look,
be great.
take it from I don't know, the financing guys. You might know somebody. You might have $10 in their pocket that I mean, but you're not. I don't know. You get a lot of knowledge. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna cave for some reason. I'm just a dude, just
You
a
think
billionaire guy.
AMPTP is like, fuck it, we're
I think that I'm getting the suspicion that Hollywood is full of assholes,
no, like
and everybody's acting surprised that some people aren't. Like, there's maybe a lot of examples, and I'm just a starving artist guy. Never, I just make my own little movies. Never had to deal with a corporate like filmmaking sequence unless when I worked on Digital Domain and stuff like that, and on stage and stuff like that. Dealing with people with clipboards and having locations, blah blah. I've dealt and seen a lot of different aspects, but it seems like if they can make something for free and sell it for $10, they will.
yeah, you're right.
I might just like like I think and also in conjunction, there's a couple different things happening because I'm kind of like thinking about this a little bit. Like our ideas of celebrity from like 10 years ago, I think even 9/11 was maybe a change in perspective for sure, conscious. But like I think like people's perception of celebrity and what sells a ticket and what people watch are all changed. I
Like, do
think
you mean like,
I
oh, go
think
ahead.
some people like Tom Cruise can still sell tickets, but not necessarily for what they were used to seeing. People are used to going to movie theaters, having an event experience. And if it's just like if you're putting shit out like The Flash, which could have just been AI made, they probably would have been a better movie. I never saw it. It's a shit. It's a bullshit. It's all crap. But like I think the dynamic of which people want to eat and consume their media and stories is all like changing. Like people don't necessarily run out to see I don't know. It takes a lot for people to go fucking outside to see a movie because they have movie theaters in their houses.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a person who works on movies and TVs all day, I can tell you it takes a lot for me to want to go and watch more things.
What's the last
Uh,
great movie you saw in the theater?
the last movie I saw in the theater,
That was
uh,
great.
that was great. Uh, I mean, this is gonna be so fucking predictable, but Barbie was fantastic.
Was it?
Uh,
Okay. Okay, cool. Can you give us a little review? Like
uh,
a 3 minute review? Like, okay, what you liked about it and why you liked it and what it made you feel or what you didn't like about it.
so I'll preface this by saying like the company I worked for and my department in general had a big part to do. We wrote the audio description for Barbie. So like a colleague of mine wrote the audio description for it. So I was really eager to see it just because like I admire my colleague. I think he's quite bright and I was excited to see what this like, older man did with the Barbie movie. And then when I saw it, I was absolutely like the movie itself, I was blown away by because it was unexpectedly profound and weird. I guess when there was first rumbles of the Barbie movie, you're like, what the fuck does that even mean, a Barbie movie? And like Ryan Gosling,
I gotta admit, myself, I thought just like it's another IP brand that's already been branded. It's again all a bunch of like mojo behind it already. It's a
yeah,
very, very popular thing. So to make it into like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I was because I that's where it seems like things that are getting made are things that are with like IPs that are like very, very, very well branded over many years. So people
you
are
are
so
absolutely
behind
right.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So that's
guess
my
like
first thought about when I saw it. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's an important. That's why I haven't seen it. Probably.
no, I think should you see it, you would find that there's definitely a lot of, corporate sponsorship. But
Oh yeah.
I I think the thing that was remarkable about it is it's just very weird and every actor committed to the absurdity of their roles without
I
any
heard
doubt.
Ryan Gosling stole the show.
Yeah, I mean, he sold the show 100%, but also like the only reason you believe Ryan Gosling is Ken is because every other character played their part impeccably. And I feel like it's kind of like going against the thesis of the movie to celebrate, Ryan Gosling when, there's all these,
Yeah, I
wonderful
know I've
women.
heard different things, but those are one of the things that I heard that was like kind of cool.
Oh
Like
no, yeah, I'm
they
not
gave
like,
it, they,
hey,
they gave the guy his due. You know, like they didn't.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's characters were kind of balanced out.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be, I'm not on a evangelical about like he did deserve it. He did a great job, but like everybody else also did a great job. No one did a bad job.
America Ferrara with her speech apparently is really nice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's very relatable. It was one of those things. There's a through line about like a mother and daughter, and just like how there's a line that says something like us mothers stand still so our daughters can see how far they've come, and I was like, that's gonna resonate with nope, no, my 13-year-old just was like, yeah, great, okay. That's true for everyone but our dynamic. You go get me a glass of water, mom, I'm thirsty. Like it's that. But no, I think in general you would be surprised with just the approach and the weirdness of a really highly pink movie. It's not what you expect.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll go out to the movie to see it. I saw Dumb Money, which
Oh, how was that?
interesting. I saw in the theater there was a thing over here. They have a program to see a movie a week before it opens, and then you don't know what it is though.
Oh, hell yeah.
So Dumb Money, I went and saw it last night with Seth Rogen and
Yeah, yeah.
those guys in it. How do I feel about it? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's like one of those things where it's an IP. They're telling a story of a
Thing that happened 2 years ago. Like,
yeah. It's not really it's not Wizard of Oz, or like Martin Scorsese Goodfellas. It's just a quick movie. I could see the the very technicality of it though, like with the breaks and the rhythm of it. Maybe I was looking at it too technically, and that's when I know I don't like a movie all that much. because like when I start noticing like, oh, this is this callback. Well, you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
be blend in, right? You wanted to and I think they shot it over COVID as well.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
right in the middle of when it was when that
the
was
shit
playing
is.
out in real time, they
Yeah.
made a movie about it.
But no, GameStop. It's about GameStop.
Yeah, yeah, that was a big COVID set situation. I mean, that happened
Maybe people
during
had
COVID.
COVID money, and that's how that happened. COVID did that with
Mhm.
a lot of COVID money with Bitcoin too.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
people
and
went in and people,
Dogecoin.
look, it's doing great. It's like everyone's got free money. Not necessarily free. We all paid for it, but in one way or another.
Yeah.
But so with the SAG and so where do you realistically see this going? Like as it
Boy.
stands right now. And I know I'm not trying to ask you to speak for like every writer and every SAG after, but like what's like you're more like have you seen a rhythm happening with it? Have you seen any progression, or is it just more just quicksand?
Yeah, it's quicksand. I don't know. It's that, like I said, it's a bleak vibe on the picket lines. And I I think, there's no telling what is going to, cause any whatever the first domino is to fall of this getting resolved. I'm not sure. It just seems like they can only AMPTP can only go so long, saber rattling about how all the writers are going to be homeless until people literally just like rise up in anarchy of like eat the rich. You know.
This is
Um
the same scenario that was with the when the internet came on. Was that 2008? There's a big
oh
problem with the
yeah.
writers, and because about the internet being used for their stuff, and
Yeah.
and then this is what 10 or 12 years, 2008 to now. Was it? I don't know what that is.
15. Yeah.
Years later, the same scenario, but with streaming, and everybody. It was a slow crawl to get here.
Yeah.
This was slowly doing its like enveloping the space of the things were changing, the way people were seeing media, the people that were paying for media. For God's sakes, you don't pay for anything. And so where do you want it to go? where, where,
I will,
where to
I was
go from
having a
here? And
I
I
I
know
was
that we keep on sticking on this subject, but we want to get past it. We'll get past
okay, so I here's realistically from a writing standpoint. I was having a conversation today. I have a friend who's a strike captain at Netflix and for SAG. And I was saying something to the effect of like, I remember reading an article in 2018 about how the mini writers' rooms were going to be the death of like the television writing profession as a whole, and that like something needed to be done and soon. Um, I I think that realistically, there'll just have to be some type of compromise on the just going back to how it used to be. I don't know. It's not a good fucking business strategy to have, 3,000 hours of content available for 8.99 subscription per month, right? Like clearly, something needs to be changed in terms of like the format of how this content is produced and distributed and like how it can be profitable still. But I don't think that's if they're saying that it's not profitable through residuals, then I think it's, they really ought to just be WGA SAG after really ought to just be going after some type of, I don't know, like being on the board of these fucking companies and say, okay, like if you're basing all of this on your, quarterly returns, then that's like how we're going to make our money, so that there's no way they can't be profitable. But that is a roundabout way of saying, I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's a great. No, I'm just absorbing it. I'm tracking you. I'm just because it's such an important thing. People
Yeah.
need to get paid to be creative, but if they're not being creative, then no one's getting paid.
Fair enough. Yeah.
like
It's
like
like a snake eating its own tail. Yeah.
it's like how I don't know. Have you been seeing by chance people like migrating out of Los Angeles because of this? From
Actually, I have. That's so interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, I have seen people. I think first it was like, okay, the late night writers are going to be, going back home for a little bit because, they know they're not going to be on the air for a while. They can't, it's the strike. And then it was kind of like, well, like maybe I could just shut up shop here. Like it's almost kind of similar to what happened during COVID, where like a lot of those rooms became, I have seen a little bit of like, well, since the strike's happening, I'm just gonna peace out for a little bit for sure.
Yeah, it's a if you're busy and you're doing things in LA, it's good. But if you're sitting still and it's stagnant, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck am I doing here? What is going on?
Yeah.
The have you who was when you're growing up like in Chicago, what were you watching as a child? Like what were you how did you what comedy were you watching? Were you a girl or you
Man.
SCTV, Python,
I
of
was a big
course,
Mr. Show. I was very into Mr. Show with Bob and David.
of course, classic.
A lot of SNL reruns. I don't think that's unique to any millennial, but I remember finding Mr. Show, and that was an experience for me. That
Highlander.
was a whole different way to look at comedy. It was like the first time I remember I was falling asleep one night with the TV on, and I just had some bullshit on in the background, and I just heard the line, not to be confused with the disease cancer, and I woke up like, what did I just hear? I guess I got really into Mel Brooks as like a middle schooler.
Oh,
There's no way.
Brooks is the king. Tell me
Yeah,
he's my god.
yeah, no, I mean, there was no way. I think like even to this day, the original producers is my favorite movie. I just like
You don't get better than that. That's like
you
just
really don't. I'm not
just
like a big film file. I don't really love old movies, but there's something about that movie in particular. It's like, evergreen and how charming it is.
well, everyone's really just on top. I mean, was it Mostrell,
Yeah.
Mostrell,
Zero. Yeah.
and you got 22-year-old Gene Wilder
Oh
there.
my God. He was so cute. He was the
He,
cutest.
he had the blanket it's just like so it's so I don't know. He's just iconic. They took the trouble to make funny. It was
Yeah.
important. They made like the sets, the surroundings. They made it like where you could do like drama, play it real as fucking hell, and it'd be hilarious. Like virtually just that little step over the top, or like it's just
Yeah.
really right. Like it actually reminds you of somebody who might actually act like that.
Yeah, no, I feel like I felt seen in a way when Gene Wilder had like a panic attack on screen. And I know that must have been like a revolutionary idea in the 60s of like, look at this man lose his fucking marbles. But like I was a real nervous kid. So I was like, I relate to these feelings he's having. He can't help himself. He's going down a real spiral here. It
Well, and the
was
guy we gotta get the guy. I should know his name, but the guy who played who did he has black hair. He is in it's a mad world.
oh
Who played the guy on stage?
he played Hitler.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess I
remember
didn't want to
his.
say it. Was
Are
his
you
name
talking
again?
about the one with the soup can, like the really hippie
Yeah,
Hitler?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that blew me away. That was when he sings "Love Power" and he's throwing. Like I remember just being, what's happening?
What's the actor's name again? And
I
everyone's
don't. That's not. I'm a mom. I
I'll
don't know
Google it and I'll put
actors.
it up here. I'll put it up here. But he died on stage.
No shit.
Yeah, he
I
was
didn't
giving
know that.
a performance or he's doing a routine like later in life, and he died on stage. People kind of sat there in the audience thinking it's a famous Hollywood story. But the guy loved the stage. The actor is, but in that part was like just eats up the scenery.
Yeah, yeah. It was a presence I hadn't seen. Like the whole movie, every character has a presence about them. Uh, yeah, fantastic. Um,
So, what's your ideas about AI?
I'm
Like,
sorry, could you repeat that?
um, what are your ideas? Like, okay, with what we were talking about earlier, the strike and the writing and the stuff, AI.
Yeah, I'm
Is
gonna
this
sound.
Snapchat? I know we might be beating a dead horse by even talking about it, but I think it's actually still a valuable chat about how because this is in its infancy right now.
Yeah. Well, I've always maintained that like generally speaking, the public facing free application of a technology can't be its pinnacle. So, and some points I might sound a little like tinfoil hat. I'm like, I think that there's some warehouse in the middle of Nevada that's, you can't put it back in the box. And in, 15 months, we're all going to be like, remember when we were worried about it writing screenplays? Like, it seems like that's a real possibility. But then also, I don't know, at least like how it could understand that comedy math to make comedy writing obsolete. And I always wondered if maybe this is so conspiratorial, but and this is also just speaking that like how I've dealt with people in my life, but like maybe the AMPTP was just, kind of going all in on the AI thing as like, Dudley Do-Right villains in an effort to distract from everywhere else. They were fucking creatives, and everyone was just the most outraged at the idea that they would want computers to write their scripts now. So I'm of two minds on it. I think it's dangerous. I think it's bad, but I don't know that it's the end all be all and as much of a threat to this industry as they're making it out to be. But like, what the fuck do I know? Also, is the main
Well,
takeaway.
you have an opinion. You're a writer. You're probably giving it more thought than a lot of people, but it doesn't, I'm gonna put a warning before the episode that these are the opinions are not real. They're just the people that are talking them, and so
No, I would actually like you to be like, this is a fact. Everything they discuss in here is something you can play in court, and, and as opposed to bringing a subject matter expert.
well, you're living it. You're living it. Who's closer to that than that? You're
Fair
living.
enough.
You know, do you? Okay, so what? Okay, we don't know when the strike is going to end.
No.
It might be what happens if it doesn't end and they just let it crumble.
Then I guess, I think like,
would you go into producing your own projects?
No, probably not. I wouldn't know how to start. That's such a defeatist attitude, but
really, with all the people that the creatives and geniuses that you don't think you guys would put like you don't think you could put a 30-minute sitcom together? Come on.
Okay, if somebody was like, we're all down to do this for free, then I'm sure I could be like, well, buckle up, because boy, do I have a library of pilots that just need to be made. But unfortunately, that's the problem. They all want to get paid. We all want to get fucking paid.
I know.
And so I'm not sure. It's one of my failings as a human being, in that I can't like convince people to part with their money for me, like or my ideas. So I don't know that I would ever be in a place where I could like raise the capital as a producer necessary to get my own stuff off the ground.
One day at a time. One day at a time.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to just stay patient and think that, none of us know how it's going to end. We might be blown away at how positive it's going to be.
Well, like there's a thing that was happening. Did you hear about Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and Fallon were all going to do a podcast together?
Oh, sick.
And then Jimmy recently got like sort of, I don't know what, with a toxic workplace thing that just recently happened.
Oh, Jimmy Fallon. I heard about that. Yeah.
So, but prior to that, like 2 weeks before that happened, like maybe a month ago, they were getting all geared up to do a podcast, them three together, which that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, it sounds great.
And and podcasts, that's where we are with podcasts, because it seems to be like, I like doing the podcast because it's a now to now. It's kind of in real time in a way. I try to keep these, like this will be out tonight or tomorrow. So like it's like in real time a little bit. But talking about things that are interesting. But like after after Fallon got like this toxic workplace thing, it went like fucking radio silence. It was like boop. It's like what happened? And also, when you think about that, think about what happened. I want to know what you think about the Bill Maher and if I can indulge me, the Bill Maher thing with and the girl, the Drew Barrymore girl, that situation.
Yeah,
I would like to hear about the first thing first. I started thinking about three things at once. So, answer or however you make it of
Is
that.
the first thing the podcast that you mentioned, or you want me to just dive right into Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore?
No, go to the podcast thing.
I mean, that podcast sounds great. I have heard that Jimmy Fallon is like I don't know. I can't be having public opinions about this.
Oh, but I do. I
wanna,
mean, it's no one's how. Apparently, they did it. They're like getting beefed up. I got excited because we all want to see him again, right? And then it's
yeah,
like,
well, because
boom.
like that seems so bankable, right? Because like people love the
Of
Smartless
course, they
podcast,
need.
right?
They don't. We don't have them.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably just they're like, we better let some of the heat die down before we go ahead with this groundbreaking podcast of three men who all have the same job talking about shit every day. But uh, uh that said, I don't have an opinion on Drew Barrymore, and I don't have an opinion on Bill Maher. Like I remember when the first writer's strike happened, Colbert, when he did the Colbert Report, still did the Colbert Report just with no writers, and it was clunky as hell. And he was out there like just riffing, and I I didn't know, I didn't remember any outrage about that. So I was surprised when like Drew Barrymore was going to be just I've never seen her show. Like, is she just like touching different types of blankets and smelling candles? Like, what is the show about? And then Bill Maher is an asshole. Are you sure? Are you sure Bill Maher could possibly be conceived as a jerk? I couldn't, like, it seems so off brand. Like, of course that's how that's gonna be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when it brought like when they were breaking it down, it was like they're gonna do like okay, so they're going to not have any writers
Sure.
and just a microphone or do some improv or nothing non-scripted and do that. That's a podcast. That,
You seem fine, right? Like that
I mean,
seems agreeable.
why
That's
wouldn't Drew just go, well, I'm just gonna do a podcast now?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, so because all the time you see on like social media clips from like something like this, just a highly produced, video podcast. Why couldn't Drew just, be
Same thing.
talking about, I don't know, perimenopausal behavior? I legitimately don't know what her talk show covers. Is it just like a
It's
lady
all
thing?
about menopausal behavior.
It's a perimenopause? Okay, good.
I hear it's her crying a lot. And I don't know. What is their writers necessary? They might just do that with AI with her show, and it just the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
And I'm not dissing Drew Barrymore. She's, I grew up with her. She's like, was that what they? Did you ever see? Anyways, there's this actress. It was yeah. I've grown up with her, so she's in my DNA. So I'm gonna like her no matter what.
I don't have a problem with Drew Barrymore. I just didn't know, like, what about her personality qualified her to run a talk show. Like,
I mean, there's no qualification to run a podcast. There's no, apparently, being an example. So okay, so do you feel like people are being and I kind of want to touch a little bit, is just the celebrity aspect of this, like how things are sold and how they're marketed because of somebody who was a face of a brand, or Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, whatever, Russell Brand, with what's happening with that guy right now. Like, do celebrities even exist anymore?
I don't think it's the same. Right. It's all niche because it's not even like, so I don't know anybody's deal. I don't know most actors' names, and the actors I do know,
What they
their
look
names.
like, what they sound like.
Yeah. And it's always specific to like the comedian. But I'm like, so this is an example of like at a work dinner, I was trying to remember Jesse Plemons' wife's name. And I was like, the lady, she's from Spider-Man with the upside down kiss. And they're like, you remember Jesse Plemons, but not Kirsten Dunst. Like, that's insane. Like, how is him, but not her?
The things with the eyes and the blood.
Yeah. She kissed him all wet. So what it seems like to me now, because this is actually like something I experience with my kids, is they respond to YouTubers that are niche YouTubers, like that only play Fortnite, and that's, or only basically watch, compilation videos of just like, terrible TikToks and react to those, but they like have are more excited about laser beam or J-Slat than they are about, I don't know, any celebrity that would have been relevant to me when I was a kid. Like you're right, there's not a lot of like celebrity worship in the same way that we know it. And the people that do seem to have clout are all fucking 24 and make $27 million a year just on ad revenue. It's and Twitch streams. It's crazy,
Yeah, it's a wild world out there, man. It's almost like like my grandfather didn't know how to operate a typewriter. So it's like, their technologies. I wonder if we're feel like maybe that's like our typewriter, or
We're not understanding the
like, what is
nuances of
this? How's it
streaming.
work? It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
No, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. Like when I watch my kids watch YouTubers react to uh YouTube videos. So it'll just be like, this is Mr.
Reaction
Beast.
videos.
And yeah, they'll do reaction videos. And it started with unboxing videos. That was like a big thing when they were younger.
Red flag.
Uh
There's a big red flag right there.
yeah. Well, okay. So you go to a restaurant and you enjoy dinner without showing your kids some unboxing videos. Like, it was just how it needed to be if I wanted even a second to myself. All that to say, like, just the form of entertainment, it's become like super passive in terms of like, you're not even the one watching the content anymore. You're watching a person watch the content and then you're reacting based off their reaction. That that is seems like the most bastardized version of like,
It seems like an Orwellian fucking nightmare is what it looks like.
yeah, like I
But
said,
we can't help it. It's just like the pimple popping lady, or
uh,
that stuff. It's like sometimes it's a doom scrolling. You're talking about doom scrolling ultimately. It's
yeah,
like
I mean
doom
that
scrolling, but
it's
also
annoying.
with I know people, and my brother watches some of those reaction videos.
Get him in here, I want to know. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
He actually comedy reaction, which I love. I watched them for a little bit. It's cool, but I'd rather just go see a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's
I
become it's a weird like echo chamber of like of watching somebody having fun, watching somebody having fun,
Yeah.
laughing and not and it's this weird like is we're living in this really weird like dimensional echo thing. It's like,
Super voyeuristic, super like
but yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be a stalker now, right? Because
that's what it,
apparently Facebook is all full of people watching you live your life and trying to. It was a social something. There's a word for it where people get to know you and think they are your friends, but they've never met you before.
that is a weird thing.
Parasocial.
Parasocial. So yeah, so that's I've had that recently where I was like at the Magic Castle, not to like impress you too much.
Well,
But
brag away, baby.
I was at the Magic Castle and somebody I had never met I ran into and I was like, "Is your name Frederick?" Like, I think we're Facebook friends, but we've
Oh,
never
joy.
met in real life. That's insane. And then like that became like now, oh yes, I recognize you. Now our night is seeming to know each other. And also it was just he was also a magician. And so I was getting a lot of magic tricks. I was surrounded by men doing magic tricks. It was very overwhelming. And
Wow.
but what like some of it is like, okay, so we have a sense of familiarity with each other, but like
They're out magicking each other. That's a short film right there. You gotta
I
do it like
mean
that.
you
Or like there's like 12 different magic tricks being done in front of your eyes, and your head explodes.
yeah,
You're
that's
like,
what it felt like. It's
whoa,
like I am
gentlemen,
a little
gentlemen,
drunk.
gentlemen.
this place is discombobulating as it is.
Complete, and you
And
have like mushrooms or something, and you're like, whoa, no.
fuck, was that my card? Like, I don't know.
It's actually just one person just doing it, going, "Hey, lady, I like it. It's a goose."
Oh no.
Yeah.
And that piano is playing itself. No, that is a thing that like I as an adult I never thought I would have access to, like reaching out to the people that the actors I had crushes on growing up on Mr. Show. I can just now I'm in the orbits of you. Now for some reason we're Facebook friends. I can message you. That's weird. That's not nobody had access like this before, especially like I don't know. It's just I don't like it. I kind of want like more of a divide. I kind of miss it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that divide is. I mean, people
It's
do have separate, private lives that are,
true.
in the industry. Harrison Ford, and I'm sure they pay a lot of money to make that happen.
They're
Uh,
more anomalous than anything else, though, I guess, you know.
yeah. I mean, well, Harrison Ford. Who doesn't like Harrison Ford?
He's a
Um,
great guy. He's a charming, charming, scampy old man.
have you worked with him before?
No, no, I just mean to say, like, he seems nice.
Based on his Indiana Jones
There's,
movie, he's like a scampy old man.
yeah, no, I just mean like he's been around for a while, and like you don't hear any stories other than he doesn't like going on talk shows, right? Like you'd feel like something would
Very
come
understandable.
in.
He's done it. I'm sure there should be which other biopic of his life comes out. It'll be all AI.
Probably, yeah. It'll all be just different AI Han Solos. Like, I don't know. Never mind. I don't know where I was going with that.
Did you see that Paul Provenza show?
Oh, did I see like the edited version of it?
Yeah.
Yes. And it was like I couldn't, it was such an intense thing to be in the audience of. But I was blown away by how ballsy everybody was at the end. Like that the edit was equal parts like hilarious and an absolute gut punch. And just I don't know, to watch a group of people process this horrific shared experience they had individual. I don't know. It was wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a wild night. That was a wild night. Yeah. I got an Uber there, and so it came a little mushroomed out.
Hell
But
yeah.
but very intense. I like it's interesting the way it came together. The actual end result is really nice. I think it gave everybody, it was very, it's very thought provoking, and I don't know, it just seemed I don't know, very, very I like the balance of it. All, even with Philip Henry or
Yeah,
Henry.
Henry Phillips. Yeah.
Yeah, he's all, I've never been molested. It's
Yeah.
all, but so he's all, you're our anchor. He just,
Yeah.
they needed an anchor there. So
I I feel like it opened on the one guy actively with cocaine on his face. Like
which
it
guy
was
was this? Andy?
Andy. Yeah.
Oh, Andy. He had cocaine in his face.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe
No,
maybe it was
they
just
probably did. He probably fired because they taught. I think Stanhope joked about that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But no,
Um,
actually, he had a showing in his backyard like last month, and I was like, I'll see it again. And it was cool. Like it's a cool space he's got there too. I hope he does it more. I want to go all the time. I love hanging out at Paul's, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's been really interesting to. I that night I felt like it was a pirate ship. I felt like it was like this, and I did a little LSD that night too.
Jesus.
I know it was like I was feeding people water by the end of the night because some people are dehydrating, and I not from things. They were just like they did something that I didn't know that they did. Anyways, but yeah, I was feeding water, but it was what a transcendent night that was. It's just a very intense subject. If you guys get a chance to see us, Paul Franzo's new green room. Anyways, so what do you want to look forward to the future? What do you have going on the horizon? What do you want to do that you can talk about that will infringe on the strike rules? And also, I want to ask you, what are the strike rules? Like, what can people say or not say on podcasts? Can they just not? Because I heard there's certain things like you can't talk about projects that are in that you signed something with, or there's like you can't talk about like things like Stranger Things if you're like on the set of that? And
I don't know the nuances of that. But I will say, like, I had heard that there are generally, you can talk about, I think, like, you don't want to endorse anything,
like
right? But you can
brands, you
also,
can't say Coca-Cola, don't say Pepsi,
I
don't.
think it's more like you don't want to endorse a specific show or specific streamer, but you could say you enjoyed the performance of an actor or you liked the writing of this. It's the same thing actually. My daughter went to Halloween Horror Nights recently, and they were like, there was a small picket line outside of Halloween Horror Nights, and they're like, "Hey, go have fun at the park. This isn't a violation of anything, but do understand that the fun you're having at Universal is based on IP that writers created, and like your good time is directly informed by writers, so you should want writers to be paid well." So I think it's kind of, I guess those are different thoughts, but I think it's kind of like you can say, uh, wow, so and so's performance, or I'm blown away by this latest performance, but you don't want to say like, so check out Ahsoka or something like that, or on Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
Ahsoka.
Yeah. So I think that's like the line you have to toe. But
That's a new
you know,
catchphrase.
so
Check out
check out
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, Disney Plus,
That's the new
streaming
like that's hot or something like that.
now. I during this time, the part of writing that I do for the industry has not been affected, as it's covered for accessibility. And so affected in terms of like my job is okay to do. Affected almost certainly by, if they don't fucking start making shit soon, there's not gonna be nothing to describe for the visually impaired. And so, that's been a difficult line to toe as well, because it's like, part of me wants to say, I worked hard on this series, and I would, if for any reason you want to have it described to you, guess what? It was all me. But then I also feel weird recommending anybody go on any platform right now and look at anything new, because it's a tricky time.
Well, it seems like I mean, Disney's taking a big loss even before this happened.
Yeah, yeah,
And those are the juggernauts. Disney is the Illuminati. Uh,
yeah,
they are the big brother. They're in there with a bunch of people, but it's no conspiracy theories, but dude, they're that big. They're giant. They're giant.
yeah.
They can stand to throw away a 100 $200 million movie, throw it away. They
Yeah.
can. That's the kind of power they just know. Okay, that's gonna
All
bury.
done. Yeah.
Batgirl didn't happen. Batgirl didn't happen. Didn't happen. Um, but like how many losses can they take
Yeah.
like
And
that?
like the way they justify it is like, we actually saved money. It's like, yeah, and if I don't fucking eat, I also save money, but
I
like that
saved fucking
doesn't
2.5 fucking hours is what I just did.
yeah. Um
So
anyways.
are like what can are there like with independent filmmaking and so yeah, do you see that happening? Because people are sort of talking. I know I want to let you go, but I just keep on squeezing these last questions in. But the um the aspect of independent filmmaking, like with people just that aren't in SAG AFTRA or connected with any corporations or brands or anything like that, they can just go off and do their own thing. Doesn't that make it more like the late '80s in that way? Does that make it sort of like a new like a Wild Wild West for independent filmmakers that aren't um, part of a like getting the regular paycheck?
Well, like, I
Not
mean,
like getting right being a writer getting a regular paycheck, but
are you talking specifically about like how there are studios like A24 that signed the SAG after waiver and like basically agreed to everybody's terms temporarily, and now they can go and make their indie films and everything like that? Or are you saying like just disenfranchised and out of work creatives coming together to make their own stuff, and
both
just
probably both.
both probably? uh like, okay, what was the question? I'm so
It's
sorry.
like how is like now because everyone's got a sort of these independent films, people like that aren't attached to a contract or a guild or a scene, like they're going and making their own independent, would this be a nice resurgence? It seems like this would be the time if there was gonna be a resurgence for independent filmmaking. This would be the time because people don't have contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I think 100%. Like I, this has always been like a scrappy town. I think that's actually maybe, maybe that's not a thought I want to go down. Um,
Any thought you want to go down is fine. That was just, you don't even have to answer the question. It might be,
I
it
just
might
sit
be,
here and stare.
it might be a stupid question. It might not even be
It's
relevant.
not that it's a stupid question. I think like I was gonna steer it in a different direction.
You're in
Uh,
a different direction. Steer it. It's
I
your
think
show.
I think kind of part of the problem that started all of this that like
Raise
let
your camera up for me so I can see more of your head.
okay, you don't want more hot dog shirt? Part of the problem
Compositions, everything.
I
Compositions, everything. I
think part of
worked 5 hours to make this happen in the background.
oh wow, those are all new today. No,
I'm just kidding.
you do make lots of art. Uh
Yeah.
I think our enthusiasm is what got us here in the first place. And it's not that it's a bad thing to be enthusiastic about creating art. It's that there's a lot of sons of bitches out there that want to take advantage of honest, hardworking people who just feel called to something. And so, well, I think it would be fantastic to see a huge resurgence of independent filmmaking and people going, fuck it, who needs them? Uh, I also somehow feel like uh, that is kind of like when everybody was telling you to make your own web series in the early aughts and that, or like mid 2010s, and that I mean, maybe one day a production company might buy it to like turn it into a series.
Yeah, so people can
Yeah,
steal your idea.
yeah,
Thanks for showing me a free movie of a concept video for the next fucking version. I want to do a fucking elf.
yeah, exactly. And then also like I see that you made 8 episodes of this. Good job having made that. That thought is now made. But you know, like
I made that for
we're not going to do this again. This was already done.
yeah.
But you know, again, what do I know? Like, I think it's I don't have the balls to do it. I'm too scared. I don't know how to put my money in something. Think of it as a good investment, like a creative investment. I know how to write for free. Like that's what I knew how to do.
Uh,
Uh,
so where do you want to see it go? Like, what would be the best scenario for all this?
like for this,
Writer
I
strike, the Hollywood. What would be
Hollywood.
would sitcoms come back? I think we've gone too far. We're in a different media. Like the media landscape's changed. Like
I
people are
feel
watching everything like on their fucking phone and on their laptops.
I also feel like, audiences are just like, so when I was watching that show Killing It, I mentioned before, I saw full male nudity, like taint,
Good for
asshole,
you.
everything.
Tank,
And I feel like there's a point to this. It's not just because I love to talk about
you're
taint.
yeah.
uh, it's that like
Sure.
it's my thing. I felt as though there was a moment where I was like, Jesus Christ, but then I was like, this is on Peacock. This is on like this is associated with Universal, and all you really need to do to see this level of male nudity is like have Peacock. And so there's a part of me that wonders if like, yeah, what would a multicam sitcom look like these days? And who is it for? Like, is that generation still consuming television? Do they want anything new? Do they just want like 2.5 Men reruns? Like, who would a multicam be for anymore? And they're certainly not going to be showing taint on like network TV, but that's seemingly what the people want. I'm not sure,
People want taint.
that's
They
all they want.
heard that what was that skit from was it those guys
It's insane. This guy's taint.
taint misbehaving. What was that thing that they did on Mr. Show?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, you've quoted it correctly. I feel like it was Scott Ackerman, and yeah, it's insane. I just can't like get the image of his
Was
legs.
that Scott doing that? Was that Opperman
Was
doing
that not him? Yeah, that was him, wasn't it? I could be wrong.
that? He's like,
Yeah, no, and
no, keep the camera on there. What? The taint. In the that was like he's like You know,
Making the faces, trying to
um,
act so coy and poised. Yeah.
yeah. Have you ever met him before? Like Mark or Cross?
David Cross.
Yeah.
I have not met David Cross. I've met Bob Odenkirk a few times,
Oh,
and he's
see.
always been wonderful to me. He never needed to be as nice. He's also from like a similar suburb of Jesus Christ.
Am I?
We ran a lot of same circles. No, we went to a lot of the same colleges, and I knew a lot of the same people that he knew, like from Second City before like the Breaking Bad days. So before he had like kind of that role that launched him so much in the public eye. And he was always like super kind to me. And then out here, just through comedy, I would see him at premieres and stuff, and he would, not remember me, but always be kind to me no matter what. So it's just a baseline, very good Midwestern folk.
I'm so glad he fucking survived that fucking heart attack, man.
Oh my God, right?
I was like, no, don't go. It's like
We
he's like,
love you so much.
don't go. Yeah, you're not done. Um, so do you listen to Comedy Bang Bang at all? Are you a freedom kind of
I don't really, I'm not really into.
sketch?
I don't like it. I don't
I
watch
don't
none of
like
it.
sketch. I don't like sketch. You can say
I'm
it.
over it. No, I
You know, like improv sketch. It's I guess it goes against the grain of what you do.
it's not
Well,
that I don't
I,
like sketch. It was just like I had enough. Uh like I've done so much sketch, and I feel like this is going to be a hot take. I feel like improv is a little bit of a cult.
really,
Well, it just like it's a hot
I
take.
can see that. It's like a high school like band camp sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's also, people do get really evangelical about like the principles of it. And also, it's just not for me. Like, I'm not a performer. And so, while I find, some people will say like improv informed my writing because it taught me these skills. I, not to be terminally special, felt like I kind of already naturally did that with my writing, where when exploring idea, I wasn't judgmental about those first ideas at first. I don't know. It just kind of felt like it wasn't it wasn't the format I wanted to go down. And then I noticed the people who are enthusiastic about it are extraordinarily enthusiastic about it.
I just love Freedom, that podcast with Lauren Lapkus and Scott Ackerman and
Hmm.
Tompkins. I think it's just they're so quick. And it makes me feel like I'm on acid when I'm listening to them because their bantering is so quick back and forth. They know. And I think Lauren is just a force to be reckoned with,
Sure.
just as a creative brain, the way she comes off. But I like comedy though. The comedy scene. Have you been to the comedy clubs lately? Have you been over to the Comedy Store?
I haven't been to the Comedy Store in a minute. I like have been going to more of the alt theaters, I guess. So I think I'm going to Tao Comedy Club on Saturday to see stand up. I went to Flap. I've been going to Flappers because I have a friend who does a lot of stand up now. So I guess that's the most mainstream one I've been to lately. But I guess like I was going to UCB for sketch nights more.
They're not around anymore, right?
UCB Franklin,
Start
it's
back
still
up.
there. I think it's like got a whole new. I don't know if the UCB 4 is still involved, but like it's there. It's starting back up again. So I've
The
seen
one
a
on Franklin.
couple. Yeah, on Franklin over there in, I got what they call it, Franklin Village, that area.
Right
But
across the Scientology Center.
yeah, it's exactly across from there.
Have you
That's
been
how I
ever
know.
been inside there?
No,
I have.
not even one time in my whole life.
I went there.
What was it like? Did you
Well,
have ketones in your urine, or what was it again? Like,
before I talk to you about it, I have to give you the test to read
oh,
stick your finger in this little slot. No, as weird as we got a little tour. I think we were all fucking stoned or drunk. We were
hell
young.
yeah.
Is and it goes up very windy stairwell. It's up these things, and there's a picture of him on the wall as you walk up, and it's you see a picture of him in the sailor cap,
Okay.
or the captain's ship cap or whatever the captain's cap.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's smiling, and his teeth are all fucked up and yellow and gray and disgusting. I was like, well, you could do a little Photoshop on I mean, my teeth are no picnic, but like that's like, why blow that up? And so you see that before you get into the stairwell, and there's these people. There's a door that was half open, and there's have these guys coming out of white robes. And they were being held with these other guys carrying them. They're really thin and pale, and they were like on some sort of pill program or something like that.
I
I'm not.
don't want.
I'm not. I was like, they look like hell, and so we keep walking up. It's like a haunted house, and then we go up, and he shows us the theater. He's like, "Oh, you like you're interested in the arts?" I said, "Yeah. I'm a painter. I like to act and make movies and write and do all sorts of stuff." He goes, "Oh, we have a really good acting program here." I was like, "Well, that's you might have heard of some of the people that are." Here at the, as I know all about you guys, it's all good. And so, and so we kind of, I don't know, I was like 32 or something. I was young, and or 27, probably 27. Sounds like a 27.
That is young, yeah.
But we walked out of there. It was just kind of very weird vibes and stuff like that. I don't know how they don't pay taxes, I guess.
Fucking every time um they figured it out.
They, well, I guess we have to have our own religion. Is that
Yeah.
the key?
That was a thing on TikTok. If you ever want to feel good about social media, I don't know why you would, but that was a thing on TikTok where this is a bastardized version of this story. Some church leader was being racist or I don't know what, but like, or saying things that were in direct contradiction to the values of the church, or I'm not sure. Essentially, TikTok
Being a bad boy.
people, what?
He was being a bad boy.
He was being bad. He was a naughty fella. The TikTok people said, "Not today, motherfucker," and they reported him enough, and they got their tax exempt status revoked. And I was like, "That's great! Like the power of social media, just absolute neutral, chaotic neutral, I guess. Like just you fuck around on TikTok, get your tax exempt status revoked." Yeah.
It does like it is like these new things. It's like people are finding people that are like pedophiles through hidden
Yeah.
cameras, and it's almost Orwellian for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like how we thought it was going to look like, and how it manifests is like two different things. It's like, think about the, sort of Art Deco of the future, that we grew up with, or in the old movies are like, we never knew we'd live to see Star Wars. Like that's way far in the future. But like
Yeah.
stuff that was like more near, like the Jetsons cartoon or something. There's some ideas, but like now it's here. We're living where we're about to experience the quantum computing as well. Do you know about that?
I don't know about that.
So Kiko Mikako, I do believe I'm butchering that name. That he's a theorist and theologian and quantum theorist. I did a Joe Rogan podcast like maybe months ago. I've been quoting it, but like it's so profound because he's like, when quantum computing becomes like, he's like, they're talking about AI and stuff like that. So I'm butchering this whole idea, but it was like he's like, well, AI is a is a stepping stone to quantum computing. So when quantum computing becomes a reality, that's when it's going to change the landscape of reality.
Well, you're gonna give me nightmares. I don't know what to say. That's fucking horrifying. The landscape of reality will change because AI got too spicy.
Like quantum computing, when people can start like getting back, when it comes to like architecture or automotive or science or medicine, once that stuff starts being applied to those things, when
I
they
understand.
start curing cancer, it's going to be like, oh, well, maybe AI is not so bad, or, this, can you just put the chip right here?
Yeah, no, fair enough. I saw a tweet that was something to the effect of like, can any of the robots pick garbage out of the ocean, or do all of the AIs have to be screenwriters? Like,
Yeah, that should be like a Far Side or something.
Yeah.
That should be good. Well, I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
Do you want to wrap it? Do you feel good about this episode? Is there anything else you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No, I think I'm real happy. Thank you for having me so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, much keep on. Oh, can I ask you what you're gonna do to be creative right now with that you're doing? I just real quick, um, what how you're expressing yourself. I know you got stuff that you're working on that can't talk about, but can you tell me about what you're working on that is creative and how you're filling your time between now and the the strike thing?
I'm always working with my writing partner on, identifying, at least we get a lot of inspiration from like topical news, just like, oh, that story, there, what else is there to explain here? So, we're always identifying that. We're always working on our own stuff. But honestly, I, uh, you know, I've been I putting a lot more effort into my surfing. And I know that sounds so
Oh, that's
silly.
perfect. That's the best. That's what you should be doing. You should be doing nothing but surfing.
So to be in a place where I can do something, so much with my free time that I can see quick progression and I can see kind of like, oh, I'm getting better at a thing. I still have it. I can still learn and grow and build. That's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm still alive. I haven't, it's not past me yet. I can still better myself and pick up new things and improve upon myself. So that's where I've been lately in
I
the
rode
ocean.
that train. I feel that fever. I'm trying to be a better person as well. I'm trying to work, kind of take it inward.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep it a little close to the hip. Kind of. Do you ever like I've been trying to do this more and more, and I do this all my life, but recently I've been when I before I wake up, I have that in between stage where waking up and getting up, and where you
You
kind
got
of like meditate and you're kind of
state
like half conscious.
you got a state akin to sleep is what you got there. That's the name for that.
What's that?
Uh that state akin to sleep, what you're describing right there. It's
And can you
the
explain what that is?
it's the middle ground between like being fully roused and not being like completely passed out asleep. It's
Yeah,
that place where your consciousness is
aware of itself.
but your body is very much asleep. It's a skill to be able to identify it and live in it for a little bit. It's not something people, it's a state of being people kind of take for granted.
Yeah, I like that and then when you can sort of think about like and you can kind of like not think of something and consciously not think of something
Yeah.
like where it's like there's no thing happening there for just a second, and then you get up and you start the day.
Yes.
Well, do you want people to get a hold of you? Do you want people to find you on socials at all, or is this like, are you? Because I don't think we're even Facebook friends.
I'm a secretive little lady when it comes to social media, but I will find you and we
Okay.
will be
Well
Facebook
then,
friends for sure.
I will put this up, and this is a hey. I never have to bug you again. Isn't that fun?
No, you can bug me anytime you please. Actually, you know what? I will. I'll give you my Instagram handle. It's is that what you want? Should I say
Sure,
it? Should I
sure, sure.
speak
You
it?
can.
Uh,
We're averaging we're a motley crew of people. These are time capsule these episodes. So the viewing but I don't know. It's so funny to see who watches what, you know. But
fair enough.
maybe somebody can hire you for a gig if they see this and go, hey,
I mean, that's the dream. That's the dream. So I'm a gross idiot on Instagram. That's my handle.
perfect.
Yes. But
Ah,
thank you so much for having me.
thank you, Meg Ryan.
Thank you.
We haven't even touched on. Did you how was that growing up with that name?
Oh, awful. But I come to appreciate it very much. It's one of those things. I'm very close in her orbits now. Like and I feel like one day I'll find her and we'll have a fight or something. But until then, I've definitely I went on a date recently with a guy who also dated the actress Meg Ryan, and I was like, well, this can't happen. I can't. This has to stop right now. This can't go any further. I
Like
can't be
going against
prepared.
the laws of reality. You can't have.
Yeah, like you're gonna be a conduit to a fucking black hole opening up. Like this isn't gonna work for me.
And then
Uh
Meg Ryan's gonna step through and say, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
this is bad. And then one of my ex-boyfriend's daughters went to prom with her son, and I was like, this isn't gonna, I can't do it. Like, so at some point, I just want to know, like, if anyone's ever brought me up to her, or like, it's
Bingo.
obviously the answer is no, but it would be fun to ask. So anyway.
Well, Meg Ryan, if you're out there, talk to Meg Ryan. You guys hash this shit out.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about you.
I hear she's gonna come back. I hear she's got a new movie coming out.
Oh, she does. Yes, she does.
Yeah. It's like a romantic comedy or something like that.
Right on.
All right. Well, it's not, see, she's even in her. The other Meg Ryan's still
Always
trying
finds a
to
way.
get in there. Get out.
Every single fucking day of my life.
Get out. All right. Thanks. I'll see you in the future. All right. I'll see you around at Paul's parties.
Sounds good. I'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you a lot for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me bug you about that. But I think it was super fun.
Yeah, I had a great time.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay. SAG after strong.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Keep it going. It's not over. It's not gonna. It'll be positive. It'll be good. Something will happen. Everyone will be happy. Happiness.
We're at positive vibes for the best possible outcome. That's, I think, where we both land.
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Catch you later. You sign off. I'm gonna do a little afterwards like promotion.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm gonna say, hey, I'm Brett Woods. This is Breast with Friends, episode 117 with Meg Ryan.
There you go. I'll sign off and I'll let you do that.
No, you can stay on the whole time. This would be great. Buy my art, BrettWoods.com, BrettWoods22 on Instagram. Signing out. 117 is down the tubes, baby.